Welcome, friends. If you've ever felt the sting of someone ignoring you, you know how it can affect your mind and emotions. It's easy to get caught up in the confusion, self-doubt, and frustration that comes with their silence. But what if I told you that how you respond to their silence could actually define your strength, your growth, and your peace of mind? Today, we're diving deep into how to handle the pain of being ignored without losing your sense of self. We'll explore 7 powerful Stoic principles that can help you rise above the situation, protect your peace, and transform this challenge into an opportunity for personal growth. In a world where we're constantly seeking validation and attention from others, it's vital to understand that the way we handle being ignored says more about who we are than the person doing the ignoring. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, 3 of the greatest Stoic philosophers, left us a timeless wisdom that will guide us through life's toughest challenges, including the emotional turmoil of silence and rejection. So, if you're tired of letting someone else's behavior dictate your happiness, if you're ready to take back control of your life and your peace, then stick with me through this video. Let's break down the 7 mistakes you must avoid when someone ignores you and how you can use this as an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more independent. Are you ready to reclaim your power? Let's get started. Number 1, don't chase them for attention. When someone ignores you, your natural instinct might be to chase after them for attention. It's a primal response, rooted in our desire to be acknowledged, to feel validated, and to maintain our connections. However, chasing someone for attention is one of the most detrimental actions you can take when faced with silence or neglect. It puts you in a position of vulnerability and makes you depend on another person's approval to feel good about yourself. This is a dangerous place to be, and it undermines your self-worth. First, let's address the core of why we chase after attention. As humans, we are social beings. We seek connection and approval, and when someone pulls away, it triggers feelings of rejection, insecurity, and fear of abandonment. The silence of someone you care about can leave you feeling unseen and unimportant. These emotions, although valid, should not drive your behavior. Chasing after someone, especially when they are intentionally pulling away, only reinforces the idea that your happiness is dependent on their acknowledgement. It places you at their mercy, relinquishing control over your own sense of self and peace. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, advised us to withdraw into yourself and leave the world behind. In other words, you are your own source of happiness, not the behavior or attention of others. If someone is ignoring you, chasing them for attention does not solve the issue. It only serves to diminish your dignity and strength. By relentlessly pursuing their acknowledgement, you signal to the other person that you are willing to compromise your integrity and emotional stability to get their attention. It creates an imbalance in the relationship, one where you give far more than you receive. Instead of chasing them, use this time of silence as an opportunity for introspection. Ask yourself why you feel the need for their attention. Is it because you doubt your worth? Are you seeking external validation to fill an internal void? Stoicism teaches us that true strength comes from within. Your value is not defined by how others see you, but by how you see yourself. When you chase someone, you risk losing sight of your own worth, focusing instead on someone else's perceptions. True confidence doesn't come from seeking validation. It comes from understanding that your worth is intrinsic, not dependent on any external factor. Moreover, chasing attention can make the situation worse. When you pursue someone who is ignoring you, you reinforce the behavior and can even push them further away. People are drawn to those who are emotionally independent, calm, and self-assured. When you stop chasing them, You convey that you are secure in your own identity and do not need their approval to validate your existence. This alone can shift the dynamic and make the other person more likely to notice you, not because you're chasing them, but because you've become someone who commands respect through your composure and self-control. Another key point is that chasing someone can lead to frustration, disappointment, and emotional exhaustion. When you continually seek someone's attention, you put your happiness in their hands. If they continue to ignore you, it deepens the feeling of inadequacy, and you're left stuck in a cycle of hope and disappointment. This cycle can be emotionally draining and ultimately unhealthy for your well-being. Instead of chasing them, focus on your own goals, your passions, and your personal growth. Fill your life with things that make you happy and fulfilled, regardless of whether they notice or not. Remember, silence does not define your worth. Their actions should not determine how you feel about yourself. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In this case, the best response to being ignored is not to chase after them, but to continue living your life with purpose and strength, unaffected by their behavior. When you stop chasing attention, you reclaim your power. You stop giving away your energy to someone who may not even value it. Instead, you invest that energy into becoming the best version of yourself, emotionally independent, confident, and in control of your happiness. When you stop chasing, you allow the natural flow of life to unfold, and you might even find that those who ignored you before begin to take notice of your strength and resilience. In conclusion, never chase someone for attention. The moment you stop chasing, you begin to reclaim your peace, your dignity, and your self-worth. The world is full of people who will value you for who you are, not how much you chase after them. So, step back, focus on yourself, and let your actions speak louder than your need for validation. Number 2, don't take it personally. When someone ignores you, it's incredibly easy to take it personally. Our minds are wired to seek answers and closure, and when faced with silence, we often assume that it's a direct reflection of something we did or who we are as a person. This can lead to feelings of hurt, rejection, and self-doubt. However, one of the most powerful tools you can use in moments like these is the ability to detach emotionally and not internalize the behavior of others. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we react to them. The key to preserving your peace and mental clarity in these situations is to avoid taking things personally. First and foremost, it's important to recognize that people's actions, including their decision to ignore you, are often more about them than they are about you. Everyone has their own struggles, fears, insecurities, and distractions. When someone pulls away or withholds attention, it's frequently not a reflection of your worth, but rather a manifestation of their own issues, whether emotional, mental, or circumstantial. You may never fully understand the reasons behind their behavior, and that's okay. The key is not to let it define your value or dictate your self-worth. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, reminds us of the importance of perspective. When someone does wrong by you, the harm is theirs, not yours. This is a powerful reminder that the actions of others are not a direct assault on your character, but rather a result of their own internal state. Perhaps they are overwhelmed, dealing with personal challenges, or simply caught up in their own world. None of these things have anything to do with your actions or your value as a person. By choosing not to take it personally, you free yourself from the emotional burden that comes with trying to figure out why someone is behaving a certain way. Instead of letting their actions invade your thoughts, you protect your peace by acknowledging that their behavior is not about you. Another reason not to take it personally is that it allows you to maintain control over your emotional state. When we take things personally, we hand over our emotional well-being to someone else. We allow their actions, words, or lack of response to dictate how we feel. This makes us vulnerable to emotional manipulation and leaves us at the mercy of others' moods and decisions. The Stoic practice of focusing on what is within your control and accepting what is outside of it can be incredibly freeing. You cannot control whether or not someone ignores you, but you can control how you respond to it. By refusing to take it personally, you protect your emotional equilibrium and refuse to let anyone else dictate your sense of self. Taking things personally also leads to over-analyzing, which only creates unnecessary stress and anxiety. When we try to find reasons or explanations for someone's behavior, especially when it doesn't make sense, we end up trapped in a cycle of mental clutter. Overthinking and personalizing their actions can cause us to lose focus on the things that matter most: our own personal growth, happiness, and peace of mind. Instead, embrace the idea that people are complex and their actions often have nothing to do with you. This allows you to let go of any unnecessary mental baggage and free up emotional space for things that truly add value to your life. Furthermore, by not taking things personally, you set healthy boundaries and maintain your dignity. If someone is consistently ignoring you, taking it personally might lead you to chase them or seek validation, which only diminishes your sense of self-respect. Instead, by recognizing that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you, you create space to step back and focus on your own well-being. You teach yourself not to be emotionally dependent on the approval or attention of others. This independence is key to building a strong sense of self-worth and maintaining peace in your life. In the end, not taking things personally is an act of self-respect. It allows you to maintain emotional clarity, focus on your own personal growth, and preserve your mental peace. By understanding that others' actions are often more about their own internal struggles than they are about you, you can release the grip that their behavior has on your emotions. This Stoic approach empowers you to stay centered, knowing that your value is not determined by someone else's actions, but by your own understanding of who you are and what you stand for. So, the next time someone ignores you, remember, don't take it personally. It's not a reflection of your worth, and it doesn't have the power to define you unless you allow it. Let it go, focus on what you can control, and continue to live your life with purpose and grace. Number 3. Don't react out of emotion. When faced with the sting of being ignored, it's easy to want to react impulsively, driven by a rush of emotions. Whether it's anger, frustration, hurt, or confusion, the urge to express those feelings can be overwhelming. However, reacting out of emotion is one of the most detrimental things you can do when someone chooses to ignore you. Not only can it escalate the situation, but it can also cause you to lose control over your own peace of mind and self-respect. In these moments, the Stoic principle of remaining calm and collected, regardless of external circumstances, becomes crucial. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is that we cannot control the external events in our lives, but we can always control our response to them. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is an essential concept to embrace when someone ignores you. Instead of reacting impulsively with frustration or anger, take a step back and give yourself the space to process your emotions before responding. By doing this, you maintain control over your emotional state, rather than letting someone else's behavior dictate how you feel and act. Reacting out of emotion often leads to saying or doing things you might later regret. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to lash out, either directly confronting the person or expressing your frustration in other ways. This could be in the form of an angry message, a sarcastic remark, or even passive-aggressive behavior. These responses often fuel the fire, making it harder to repair the relationship or regain control of your emotions. Furthermore, these emotional reactions rarely bring about the result you desire. If your goal is to regain their attention or make them feel guilty for ignoring you, reacting emotionally will likely do the opposite. It may push them further away or reinforce their behavior. In contrast, taking a more measured approach allows you to think clearly about how you want to address the situation. Marcus Aurelius, another influential Stoic thinker, advised, "If you are distressed by any external thing, it is not that thing that disturbs you, but your own judgment about it." This is a vital reminder that your emotions are shaped by the way you interpret the situation, not the situation itself. By practicing emotional discipline and choosing not to react impulsively, you give yourself the space to respond in a way that is aligned with your values and goals. When you refuse to react out of emotion, you also preserve your dignity and sense of self-control. Often the person who is ignoring you is doing so because they are dealing with their own issues or are preoccupied with their own life. By reacting emotionally, you allow their behavior to impact you far more than it should. Instead, choose to rise above the situation and maintain your inner peace. In doing so, you demonstrate that you are not governed by external events, but are anchored in your own principles and emotional resilience. Another benefit of not reacting out of emotion is that it allows you to gain clarity about the situation. When we're overwhelmed by emotions, our judgment becomes clouded, and we are less likely to make thoughtful decisions. Taking a moment to pause, breathe, and reflect on the situation can help you gain perspective and approach the issue with greater wisdom. Perhaps the person ignoring you is going through something challenging that has nothing to do with you. By taking a step back, you give yourself the ability to respond in a more thoughtful and composed manner without being swept away by negative emotions. Lastly, when you refrain from reacting emotionally, you create an opportunity for growth. By learning to manage your emotions in difficult situations, you become more emotionally intelligent and resilient. Emotional control is a skill that takes time and practice to develop, but it is one of the most powerful tools you can cultivate for personal growth and self-mastery. Instead of letting your emotions control you, you take charge of them, empowering yourself to face challenges with grace and wisdom. In conclusion, the next time you are ignored or feel disrespected, remember the Stoic principle of choosing your response. Don't let your emotions control you and avoid reacting impulsively. Take a moment to breathe, reflect, and then decide on a course of action that aligns with your values and long-term goals. By doing so, you maintain your dignity, protect your peace of mind, and create the space for growth and emotional resilience. The more you practice this approach, the more you'll find that external events and people's actions no longer have the power to disturb your inner calm. Number 4, don't put your life on hold. When someone ignores you, it can feel like a blow to your self-esteem, and it's tempting to fixate on their behavior, waiting for them to reach out or give you the attention you desire. However, one of the most damaging mistakes you can make during this time is to put your life on hold, allowing their silence to control your actions and your mindset. This not only prevents you from growing and thriving, but it also lets someone else's behavior dictate your emotional well-being. As a Stoic, it is essential to recognize that your happiness and sense of fulfillment should never be contingent upon someone else's actions. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius offers timeless wisdom on this issue. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. What he's encouraging us to do is focus on living our lives with purpose, irrespective of how others treat us. The Stoic ideal is about developing inner strength and resilience, which means not waiting for anyone's validation or approval to move forward with your life. It's crucial to keep your focus on what you can control, your actions, your growth, and your path, rather than fixating on someone else's response to you. When you put your life on hold because of someone's behavior, whether it's ignoring you or pulling away, you are essentially giving them control over your happiness. This is not only unfair to you, but it's also unhealthy. Your time, energy, and focus are too valuable to be spent waiting for someone who is either indifferent to you or preoccupied with their own life. Think about it. How much of your time are you willing to sacrifice waiting for someone else's attention? By putting your life on pause, you miss out on opportunities to grow, to experience new things, and to create new connections. Life is constantly moving forward, and you shouldn't waste precious moments waiting for someone to notice you. There are countless opportunities to learn new skills, meet new people, or embark on exciting ventures. If you continually put these things on hold in hopes that someone will eventually reach out, you'll find that you have neglected your own growth. By moving forward with your life, you show not only that you are independent, but that you have enough self-respect to prioritize your own progress over someone else's lack of response. Additionally, by continuing to live your life and pursue your passions despite someone's silence, you communicate something very powerful to the universe. You are not dependent on anyone for your happiness or success. Your value is not tied to their attention. You are strong enough to thrive regardless of their behavior. This is incredibly attractive, not only to others, but also to yourself. It reinforces the idea that you are in control of your own destiny. When you keep moving forward, you maintain a sense of purpose and direction, which helps to build your self-esteem. You reinforce the understanding that your life is valuable and should be lived fully, regardless of external circumstances. In fact, the more you focus on your own life, the more you'll notice that your own growth naturally draws others toward you. People are attracted to individuals who are self-sufficient, driven, and content with who they are. When you take your focus off of waiting for someone's attention and direct it inward, you begin to radiate confidence and self-assurance. This self-sufficiency and contentment become magnets for positivity, and often the very person who was ignoring you may find themselves re-engaging simply because they see you moving forward and growing. Think about the moments in your life when you've accomplished something meaningful, whether it was achieving a goal, learning something new, or discovering a passion. Now imagine if you had spent all that time waiting for someone who wasn't paying attention. All of the growth you would have missed out on, all of the opportunities you wouldn't have seized. It's crucial to realize that your growth, happiness, and sense of fulfillment do not have to rely on the actions of others. Ultimately, the key is to embrace the present moment and not let anyone else's behavior define your path forward. Life is too short to waste waiting for someone to acknowledge you. Keep living with intention, pursue your goals, and cultivate your own happiness. As the Stoics remind us, the only thing we have control over is our own actions. So, make sure you're taking steps every day to create the life you want, irrespective of anyone's approval. By doing so, you maintain your peace, strengthen your resilience, and continue to grow, no matter who is or isn't paying attention. Number 5, don't lose your self-worth. When someone ignores you, it's easy to slip into the trap of questioning your own value. The silence, the withdrawal of attention, or even a lack of response can lead you to believe that something is wrong with you, that you're not worthy of respect, love, or attention. This is a dangerous path, one that can erode your self-esteem and self-worth over time. However, it's crucial to remember that your value as a person is not defined by how others treat you. but by the strength and integrity you maintain within yourself. One of the most profound teachings of Stoic philosophy comes from Epictetus, who said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." This reminds us that our self-worth should not depend on external validation or the approval of others. Your inherent value comes from understanding who you are, knowing your principles, and living in alignment with your values, not from someone's recognition or acceptance of you. When you tie your sense of worth to someone else's behavior, you are handing over the reins of your happiness to them, which ultimately puts you at the mercy of their mood or attention. The truth is, people's actions, whether they ignore you, dismiss you, or treat you unfairly, are a reflection of them, not you. When you allow these external factors to impact your self-worth, you risk losing sight of your inner strength. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius, another great Stoic philosopher, advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom is a powerful reminder that we have control over how we interpret and react to the world around us, including how we respond to being ignored or mistreated. Think about it. If someone is ignoring you, how does that reflect on who you are as a person? If their silence leads you to doubt your worth, then you're allowing their behavior to define you. In truth, their actions have no bearing on your inherent value. You are deserving of respect, love, and appreciation simply because you exist, not because you've earned it through someone else's approval. You must learn to separate your sense of self-worth from their actions. It's about recognizing that your value is intrinsic and doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's treatment of you. This principle of maintaining your self-worth becomes even more essential when you think of the broader context of your life. When you allow your value to be dictated by external factors, you become like a leaf in the wind, constantly tossed and turned by the opinions and behaviors of others. But when you stand firm in your self-worth, you become rooted like a tree, unshaken by the noise and uncertainty of the world. The Stoics emphasized the importance of building a strong internal foundation that cannot be swayed by external circumstances. This is the essence of self-respect and true strength, maintaining your sense of worth regardless of how others treat you. People who radiate self-worth naturally attract respect, admiration, and love. Confidence, grounded in an understanding of your own value, is magnetic. When you believe in yourself and your worth, others will begin to see you in that light as well. But if you constantly seek validation from others or let their actions dictate how you feel about yourself, you send out an energy of uncertainty and insecurity. No one wants to engage with someone who is perpetually seeking validation or doubting their worth. Instead, people are drawn to those who are confident and self-assured. Furthermore, losing your self-worth can cause you to act from a place of scarcity, seeking external validation from the very people who have ignored you, which often leads to more frustration and disappointment. Instead, when you are grounded in your own self-respect, you don't need anyone else to tell you that you matter. Your actions, your mindset, and your sense of self-esteem are enough. By refusing to let others' treatment of you affect your inner belief in yourself, you protect your emotional well-being and preserve your dignity. In the end, the key to maintaining your self-worth is rooted in self-awareness, self-respect, and inner strength. Your value is not determined by how someone else behaves toward you. It's determined by your own understanding of who you are, your values, and your actions in the world. When you keep your sense of worth intact, you can continue to live your life with confidence, authenticity, and resilience. You deserve to feel good about yourself, regardless of how others treat you, because your worth is unshakable. Number 6. Don't overanalyze their silence. When someone ignores you or remains silent, it's natural to want to understand why. The human mind is wired to seek patterns, and in the absence of clear communication, we often start overthinking, searching for hidden meanings in their silence. We replay past conversations, wondering if we said something wrong, or we become consumed by the thought that their silence is somehow a reflection of us, our behavior, our worth, or our actions. However, overanalyzing their silence is not only unproductive, but it also steals your peace of mind and emotional energy. In many cases, it's a waste of mental effort that only leads to unnecessary stress and confusion. The Stoics, with their focus on clarity and rational thinking, offer profound guidance on how to approach such situations. Marcus Aurelius, for example, emphasized the importance of controlling our reactions to external events. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The truth is, their silence is an external event, something beyond your control. You can't change it, and you can't fully understand the reasons behind it unless the person communicates with you directly. Trying to decode their silence only gives you more stress and anxiety, taking away valuable time and energy from things that truly matter, like your own well-being and personal growth. Overthinking their silence is often based on assumptions, and assumptions are rarely accurate. When we're left in the dark, we often fill the void with our own fears, insecurities, or negative self-talk. We may convince ourselves that their silence is a direct result of something we did wrong, or that they no longer value us. However, these assumptions are usually rooted in our own emotional reactions rather than in any concrete evidence. By overanalyzing, we're essentially making a situation worse in our minds without having the full picture. It's important to recognize that silence, in many cases, is just that, silence. People may ignore you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. They could be busy, distracted, dealing with their own issues, or simply need some space. Their silence doesn't necessarily reflect on your relationship with them or your value as a person. By attaching meaning to their silence without knowing the real reason behind it, you allow your mind to spiral into worry and self-doubt, which only serves to harm your emotional and mental state. Think of the energy you could save if you stopped overanalyzing every moment of silence. Instead of obsessing over what they might be thinking, you could focus on your own growth and peace. This doesn't mean you should ignore your feelings, but it does mean recognizing that you don't need to have all the answers to move forward. Overthinking keeps you emotionally tied to the situation, draining your energy and preventing you from taking control of your life. By refusing to overanalyze their silence, you free yourself from the emotional traps that come with it. You create space for a more rational, balanced perspective. You can ask yourself, do I really have enough information to make a judgment about their behavior? Most likely the answer will be no. In that case, it's better to let go of the need for answers and focus on what you can control, your own reactions and mindset. When you detach emotionally from their silence, you can move through life with greater peace of mind. You stop seeking validation or approval from someone who isn't giving it, and you start relying more on your own sense of self-worth. Your emotional well-being should never be based on someone's actions or inactions. It's vital to preserve your peace and stay focused on the present, rather than getting lost in a sea of hypothetical scenarios that may never even come to pass. The key takeaway here is to stop giving so much mental and emotional energy to something you can't control. Stop assuming the worst and stop allowing your mind to spin out of control over someone else's silence. Instead, take the opportunity to focus on your own life, your growth, and the things that truly matter. It's time to free yourself from the mental clutter of overanalyzing and to reclaim the peace and clarity you deserve. Number 7. Don't let resentment consume you. When someone ignores you or neglects to engage with you, it's natural to feel hurt, confused, or even angry. As the emotional response builds, it's easy to fall into the trap of resentment. You may start thinking, "How could they treat me this way?" Or, "What did I do to deserve this?" And before you know it, resentment takes root. It can become an overwhelming emotion, one that consumes your thoughts, your energy, and your peace of mind. However, the Stoics teach us that resentment is one of the most destructive emotions we can carry. Not only does it weigh down our hearts, but it also prevents us from moving forward and finding peace in our lives. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, famously said, "Anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned." This powerful metaphor illustrates the destructive nature of resentment. Holding on to anger and bitterness only harms you in the long run. The person you're angry with may not even know or care about your feelings of resentment, yet you are the one carrying the emotional burden. You are the one who suffers, while they continue with their lives, often unaffected by your negative emotions. This dynamic highlights the futility of resentment. It harms you and does nothing to change the situation or the person who has wronged you. Consider a time when you held on to resentment, perhaps from a situation where someone ignored you or treated you unfairly. Did holding on to that anger change the outcome? Did it make the person's behavior change? Likely the answer is no. In fact, the more you held on to resentment, the worse it probably made you feel. It created a cloud of negativity that affected not only your thoughts, but also your relationships with others. Resentment tends to bleed into other areas of life, souring your interactions and diminishing your emotional well-being. When you let resentment consume you, you are, in a sense, allowing someone else to control your emotions. Their behavior has now become the trigger that dictates how you feel. You're letting someone else's actions define your emotional state, and this is a dangerous place to be. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to master our own emotions and not let external events control us. By holding on to resentment, you give away your emotional power. You allow your happiness and peace of mind to be dictated by the actions of someone who likely isn't concerned with your emotional state. Releasing resentment is not about condoning the other person's behavior or letting them off the hook. Instead, it's about valuing your own peace and emotional health more than the grudge you are holding. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that resentment carries and choosing to move forward with a sense of inner strength. Forgiveness, in this context, is not about the other person. It's about you. It's about giving yourself the freedom to heal and to focus on what truly matters, your own growth and well-being. When you choose to let go of resentment, you release the negative energy that comes with it. You regain control over your emotions and start focusing on the positive aspects of your life. Resentment keeps you stuck in the past, replaying old wounds and grievances. But when you choose to forgive, or simply let go of the negative emotions tied to someone's actions, you free yourself to live in the present and create a brighter future. You can look forward with a clear mind, unburdened by the weight of past hurt. In practical terms, letting go of resentment means accepting that you cannot change the past or the way someone has treated you. What you can change is your reaction to it. You can choose to let go of the negative energy that is draining you and instead focus on the things that bring you peace, joy, and fulfillment. You can shift your attention to your personal growth, to the relationships that nurture and support you, and to the opportunities for self-improvement that lie ahead. In conclusion, don't let resentment consume you. It serves no purpose other than to keep you tethered to negative emotions and prevent you from moving forward. By releasing resentment, you reclaim your peace of mind and your emotional freedom. As the Stoics taught, it is within your power to control your reactions, and by choosing to let go of resentment, you choose peace, growth, and emotional independence.